In the dimly lit hallway of the grand mansion, the faint sound of a doorbell echoed, its chime almost lost in the sprawling silence of the estate. Logan Pierce, a billionaire known for his strict, no-children policy, had just returned home after a long day of meetings. He had always prided himself on keeping his private life free of distractions, especially from children. His home, his sanctuary, was meant to be a quiet place, a retreat from the noise of the world. But tonight, something felt different. Standing outside the gates was a small figure, barely more than a child, her clothes ragged and worn, her face a mixture of uncertainty and resolve. She was holding a crumpled envelope in her hand, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and hope. Logan hesitated, his hand frozen on the gate's intercom as he stared at her. The child was different. She wasn't one of the usual visitors or clients she was. What is she doing here? Logan wondered, his gaze narrowing. He had never allowed children into his home, no exceptions. But tonight, in the cold, under the faint glow of the streetlights, this small girl with braided hair and a worn-out backpack was challenging everything he believed in. The guards had already turned her away once, but she hadn't left. She stood there, unwavering. She had a purpose. "I'm looking for my letter," she whispered, barely audible. Her voice, soft yet steady, cut through the air, carrying more weight than her tiny frame suggested. "My grandma sent it here, a long time ago. I thought maybe it would come back." Logan blinked, the world around him suddenly feeling very still. The girl's voice trembled as she spoke, the words carrying an unspoken plea. His mind raced, searching for a reason to dismiss her, to continue with his evening, to ignore the nagging feeling stirring inside him. But he couldn't. Something about this girl, her presence, her quiet strength, struck a chord deep within him. He took a deep breath, a soft sigh escaping his lips. This wasn't what he had planned for the evening, yet, as he stared at the girl, standing alone in the cold, the walls he had built around his life began to crumble, piece by piece. Logan, for the first time in a long while, felt the weight of responsibility. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. She didn't answer at first, she just held out the letter. It was torn at the edges, the ink smudged from what appeared to be tears. Her grandmother's name was written on it, and that name Ruth struck a familiar chord in Logan's heart. It was the name of his former housekeeper, the one who had cared for his home, his wife, and even him when things got tough. Ruth had disappeared without a trace years ago, but now, this little girl, standing before him with nothing but the hope of receiving something that once belonged to her grandmother, was asking for his help. The silence stretched between them, heavy and thick with unspoken words. Logan stood motionless, unsure of what to do next. He knew he couldn't simply turn her away. Not tonight, not with the weight of the past bearing down on him. And so, he made a decision that would change everything. "Come inside," he said quietly, his voice filled with an unexpected warmth. The little girl's eyes widened in surprise. She wasn't sure if she had heard him correctly. Logan's gaze softened as he stepped back, opening the gate. "It's cold out here. You shouldn't be alone." And just like that, the world shifted. This wasn't just a chance encounter. This was fate, a twist that neither of them had seen coming. Taking a cautious step back, Logan watched as the little girl hesitated for a moment before walking into the warmth of his home. The cold air of the outside world seemed to cling to her, but she stood tall, her small shoulders squared with determination. Logan could hardly believe he was allowing this stranger into his mansion, a place where no child had ever stepped foot before. He felt a strange pull, an inexplicable sense of responsibility, but the uncertainty in his chest was quickly overtaken by something else: compassion. He closed the gate behind them, leading her into the grand hallway of his home. The light from the chandelier above cast soft shadows on the walls, making the atmosphere feel even more surreal. The girl, whose name he now knew was Anna, looked up at the towering walls with a mixture of awe and wariness. It was clear she had never seen such luxury before, yet her eyes were not full of greed or wonder. Instead, they were filled with a quiet longing, as if she was just trying to understand the world she had stumbled into. "You must be hungry," Logan said, his voice breaking the silence. He wasn't used to having anyone, especially a child, inside his home. His tone was softer than he intended. She nodded silently, looking down at her feet, unsure of how to respond. Logan gestured toward the dining room. "I'll have some food brought up. You can stay here and warm up for now." He turned to leave, but paused when he saw Anna's eyes flicker over to the large grand piano in the corner of the room. It was rare for anyone to show any interest in his personal things, but Anna, with her wide eyes, seemed genuinely fascinated by the piano. "Do you play?" Logan asked, unable to help himself. Anna's face softened, her lips barely curling into a smile. "I used to," she replied quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. "My grandma taught me, but I don't have a piano anymore." Logan felt a pang of guilt in his chest. His mansion, with all its grandeur, felt suddenly cold and empty in comparison to the life Anna had just described. She was a child who had lived without luxuries, but she carried with her a richness that Logan had never known: love, memory, and the kind of spirit that couldn't be bought. "You should play," Logan said before he even realized the words had left his mouth. "It's yours to use as long as you want." The words felt strange coming from him, but they also felt right. The look of surprise on Anna's face was enough to make Logan pause, but the moment passed quickly as he walked out of the room. The staff quickly set up a small meal for Anna in the kitchen, and Logan returned to his study, trying to regain some sense of normalcy. But he couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted in him. He wasn't sure what it was. Maybe it was the way Anna had entered his home so quietly, yet with so much strength, or maybe it was the way she had looked at him with eyes that had seen too much for someone her age. Either way, he couldn't ignore the pull of his own conscience. A few minutes later, Logan found himself standing outside the study door, looking down at the letter Anna had brought with her. Ruth. The name brought a flood of memories. Ruth had worked for him years ago, taking care of the house, cooking, cleaning, and even looking after his wife during difficult times. She had been more than a housekeeper to him. She had been a silent pillar in his life, someone he could rely on without ever asking for anything in return. But she had left without a word one day, vanishing as quietly as she had come into his life. He had never asked why. It hadn't seemed important at the time, but now, holding the letter in his hands, the weight of those unanswered questions began to press on him. He wondered if Ruth had known that her granddaughter, this little girl, would be standing in his house one day. He wondered if Ruth had known that he, of all people, would be the one to help. Logan slowly opened the letter. The edges were tattered, and the ink on the page was smeared as if it had been held and reread many times. The message inside was simple. Ruth had written a note for Anna, a note she had hoped would find its way back to her family someday. There was no mention of where Ruth had gone or why she had disappeared, but there was something else in the letter, something that made Logan pause. Ruth had asked Logan to look after her granddaughter if ever she was in need. The words hit Logan like a wave, crashing into him with a force he had not expected. He had been living his life as if everything was neatly ordered, as if his wealth and power had given him control over everything. But this letter, these words from Ruth, shattered that illusion. "Look after her," Ruth had written, and Logan knew in that moment, standing in the quiet of his mansion, that his life was about to change in ways he could not have predicted. He looked up, his gaze meeting Anna's through the doorway. She was sitting at the piano now, her small fingers hovering over the keys as if she were unsure of how to begin. Logan stepped back, watching her for a moment before he turned away, making a decision he knew he could not take back. Logan sat in his study, the letter still in his hands, the words etched into his mind. Look after her. Ruth's plea weighed heavily on his heart, and for the first time in years, he felt a pull to something more than just his business, his wealth, and his carefully controlled life. He had spent his entire existence building empires, maintaining distance from everything personal, everything that could threaten his carefully constructed world. But now, in the silence of his mansion, with the letter from Ruth in his hands and Anna's quiet presence in the next room, he realized something was about to change. The decision that loomed before him was not an easy one. As much as he tried to ignore it, the image of Anna sitting at his grand piano, her small fingers lightly touching the keys, haunted him. She had played with such tenderness, as though each note carried a memory of her grandmother, of a time before the hardships, of a time when she had hope. He couldn't help but wonder what kind of life she had led before this moment. before she had stepped into his mansion and changed everything. After a few moments of contemplation, Logan knew he could no longer ignore the pull of his conscience. He couldn't turn Anna away. Not now, not after everything that had happened. With a sigh, he stood up, feeling the weight of his decision in his chest. He walked out of his study and down the hallway to the music room, where Anna was still sitting at the piano. She had stopped playing when she heard him approach, her hands resting lightly on the keys. She looked up at him with wide eyes, unsure of what to expect. "You can stay here for as long as you need to," Logan said, his voice steady, though it felt foreign to him. He wasn't used to offering help, especially not to a child. But something about Anna, something about the way she had looked at him with so much hope, made it impossible for him to do anything else. Anna's eyes widened, disbelief flashing across her face. "Really?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Logan nodded, his expression softening. "Really?" he repeated, his tone firm. "You're safe here. You don't have to go anywhere." Anna's lips trembled as she processed his words, and for the first time since she had entered the mansion, Logan saw a flicker of emotion cross her face. It was a mixture of relief, confusion, and perhaps even a little fear. She was a child, and despite the strength she had shown earlier, she was still just a little girl who had been through more than anyone should ever have to endure. Without another word, she stood up, her eyes fixed on the floor. Logan watched her for a moment, feeling a surge of protectiveness rise within him. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew that he couldn't stand by and do nothing. He had to help her. "I'm going to call the staff and make sure you have everything you need," Logan said, his voice firm but kind. "You can rest here tonight. Tomorrow, we'll figure out the next steps." Anna nodded quietly, her hands clasped together in front of her. Logan turned to leave, but before he could step out of the room, Anna spoke again. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice so small that it barely reached his ears. Logan turned back to face her, surprised by the sincerity in her words. "You don't have to thank me," he said, his voice gentle. "You're not alone anymore." As he walked away, Logan couldn't help but wonder if this was the beginning of something bigger than he had imagined. In the quiet of his mansion, the world outside seemed distant and unimportant. There was only the weight of the decision he had made and the quiet girl who had entered his life. The next morning, Logan kept his promise. He made sure Anna had everything she needed, a warm bed, food, and a sense of safety that she hadn't known in a long time. He called his lawyer to arrange for her to stay in the mansion for as long as necessary, and he began to make plans for her future. As he spoke with his team, discussing the details, he found himself thinking more and more about Anna and the impact she had already made on his life. She was just a child, but she had already started to change him in ways he hadn't expected. The mansion, once a cold and sterile place, now felt alive with possibility. It felt like home. For the first time in years, Logan felt a deep sense of purpose. He knew that helping Anna was the right thing to do, but he couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this than just a simple act of kindness. As the days passed, Anna began to settle into her new life in the mansion. Logan made sure she felt comfortable, offering her the freedom to explore the house and its many rooms. She spent hours in the music room, playing the piano and humming softly to herself. Logan would often find himself standing in the doorway, watching her, unsure of how to explain the emotions swirling inside him. She was a reminder of everything he had lost: his connection to others, his compassion, and his ability to care. But Anna was also a reminder of everything he could gain: a chance to be something more than just a billionaire. He could be a protector, a guide, and perhaps, for the first time, a father figure. He didn't know what the future held for Anna or for him, but he was ready to find out. The days passed quietly in Logan's mansion. The space once cold and lifeless now felt different. It was as if something had shifted, subtly but irrevocably. The sound of Anna playing the piano, the soft notes floating through the halls, was a constant reminder that change had come. Logan had kept his promise to her, providing her with everything she needed: food, shelter, safety, but something more had begun to happen. He found himself looking forward to their conversations, the quiet moments they shared. He was beginning to care in a way he hadn't in years. He had never imagined that a child, especially one so full of quiet strength and vulnerability, could affect him this way. He had grown up in a world of power and wealth, where feelings were often buried beneath layers of business and obligations. But Anna was different. She didn't care about his money, his status. All she wanted was to be seen, to be cared for, and Logan, for the first time, felt that urge to do just that. One evening, as he walked down the grand hallway toward the music room, he found Anna sitting by the window, staring out at the vast grounds of the mansion. The last rays of the setting sun cast a warm glow on her face, and for a moment, she looked peaceful, like a child who had finally found a place to belong. Logan paused in the doorway, watching her for a moment. He had grown used to the stillness of his mansion, but this silence was different. It was full of unspoken things he wasn't sure he was ready to face. "You've been playing the piano a lot," he said, breaking the silence. Anna looked over at him, her expression unreadable. "I like it here," she said softly. "It's quiet. I can think." Logan stepped into the room, his eyes resting on her. "What do you think about?" he asked, his voice low. Anna hesitated for a moment, then shrugged. "Everything. I think about my grandma, about how she used to play the piano. She always told me I was good at it." Logan felt a sharp pang in his chest. He could see it now, the quiet bond between Anna and her grandmother, a bond that had been broken too soon. "You're good at it," Logan said, his voice steady. "I've heard you play." Anna's eyes flickered up to meet his. "You don't have to say that," she whispered. "I know I'm not as good as her." Logan took a step closer, kneeling down beside her. "I mean it. You play with feeling. That's something a lot of people forget about." Anna looked at him for a long moment, as if trying to understand his words. She seemed to be processing them, her expression shifting from skepticism to something more hopeful. "Do you think I could play for others, like, for people who don't know how to play?" she asked, her voice hesitant. Logan smiled softly. "I think you could," he said. "I think you could play for anyone." There was a pause, and for a moment, neither of them spoke. It was as if the weight of the conversation had settled in the room, leaving them both with the quiet realization that something had changed. Anna looked down at her hands, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of her sleeve. Logan could see the uncertainty in her eyes. "Do you think people would want to hear me?" she asked. Logan placed a hand on her shoulder, a gentle gesture that felt natural, not forced. "I think people would love to hear you," he said firmly. "But more importantly, I think you should play for yourself." Anna's eyes filled with something gratitude, or maybe relief, and she nodded slowly. Logan stood up, his gaze still on her. "I'll leave you to your thoughts, but remember, you're not alone here. You never will be." As Logan turned to leave, he realized that he had made a promise to himself that he hadn't fully understood until now. He had promised to protect Anna, to give her a chance to thrive, but he had also promised to himself that he would never let her feel abandoned again. He knew that taking care of her, giving her a place to heal, was not just a responsibility. It was an opportunity to learn what it truly meant to care for someone else, to be a part of their journey. In the days that followed, Anna began to show more of herself, her quiet intelligence, her resilience, and her dreams. Logan saw it in her eyes every time she played the piano, every time she spoke of her grandmother, every time she laughed. She was a child who had learned to survive, but she was also a child who had learned to dream, and Logan found himself dreaming, too. He dreamed of a life where he wasn't just a billionaire, but a man who could give love, who could be a father figure, a protector. It was a life he had never imagined for himself, but now, with Anna in his home, it felt like a life worth living. Logan had always prided himself on his ability to control everything in his life. But now, as he watched Anna play, as he saw her slowly begin to trust him, he realized that some things were beyond his control, and for the first time, he didn't want them any other way. Days turned into weeks, and Anna began to settle into her new life at Logan's mansion. The once grand but cold house had transformed into something more a home, filled with the sound of piano music and the laughter of a child who was beginning to feel safe again. Anna had slowly started to open up, her quiet demeanor giving way to moments of joy as she found herself surrounded by warmth and care. Logan, too, was changing, though he didn't quite realize it yet. The mansion that had once been his refuge, a place to escape the demands of the world, now felt like a place of responsibility, a place where he could make a real difference in someone's life. He had never imagined that caring for another person, especially a child, would feel so natural. One morning, as Logan walked through the hallways, he found himself pausing outside the music room. He could hear Anna playing the piano again, the soft melodies floating through the air. He smiled to himself as he leaned against the doorframe, watching her. She was no longer the quiet, withdrawn girl who had first stepped into his home. She had become someone else, someone who was finding her place in the world, someone who was discovering the power of her own voice. Logan watched as she played, her fingers moving over the keys with a newfound confidence. It was clear she was no longer just playing for herself. She was playing for others, too. The music filled the room, wrapping around them both like a gentle embrace. Anna had told him once that she wanted to play for people, for those who didn't know how to play. Now, as she played in the solitude of the mansion, it was as if she were preparing for something more. Logan couldn't help but wonder what her future would hold. He had made a promise to Ruth, a promise to take care of Anna, but somewhere along the way, that promise had become something more. It was no longer just about providing a place for her to stay. It was about helping her build a future where she could be whoever she wanted to be, without fear, without limitations. As the days went on, Logan made sure Anna had everything she needed to grow and learn. He arranged for her to take music lessons, to study under a renowned pianist who had agreed to come to the mansion twice a week. He wanted her to have every opportunity, every chance to thrive. But despite all the lessons, all the resources at her disposal, Anna remained humble. She still played with the same passion, the same feeling, and it was this that continued to draw Logan in. One afternoon, Logan sat in his study, looking over some financial documents. But his thoughts kept drifting back to Anna. He found himself wondering how much longer he could keep her in this mansion, under his care. He had no intentions of letting her go, not yet, but the reality of her future loomed ahead. She was growing, learning, and one day, she would be ready to leave. The thought was bittersweet. The mansion had become a place of healing, but it couldn't be her home forever. As if on cue, Anna walked into the study, her shoes softly clicking against the marble floor. She had been practicing all morning, and Logan could tell by the way she held herself that she was more confident now than ever. She had changed, and so had he. "Can we talk?" Anna asked, her voice steady but with a hint of nervousness. Logan looked up from his papers, his eyes meeting hers. "Of course," he said, motioning for her to sit down. "What's on your mind?" Anna took a seat across from him, her hands folded in her lap. She was quiet for a moment, as though she were searching for the right words. Finally, she spoke. "I've been thinking. I want to do something with my music. I want to play for people, for real. I don't want to just play in here anymore." Logan felt a surge of pride in his chest. He had known this day would come, but hearing her say it out loud, hearing the determination in her voice, made it all feel so real. "You're ready," he said, his voice firm and full of conviction. "I think you've always been ready." Anna's eyes brightened, and a smile tugged at the corners of her mouth. "You really think so?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I do," Logan replied, his eyes meeting hers. "You have a gift, Anna, and it's time for the world to see it." Anna was quiet for a moment, as though she were letting his words sink in. Then, slowly, she stood up, her posture more confident than ever. "I'm going to do it," she said, her voice stronger now. "I'm going to play for people." Logan stood as well, a smile spreading across his face. He had always known that Anna had the potential to change the world, but now, he realized that it wasn't just about her music. It was about everything she had become, everything she was capable of. She had already changed his life, and now, she was going to change the world. "I'm proud of you," Logan said softly. Anna smiled back, her eyes shining with a mixture of gratitude and excitement. "Thank you for believing in me," she said. "You don't have to thank me," Logan replied, his voice filled with warmth. "I'm just glad I could be a part of your journey." Anna nodded, her eyes bright with the promise of a new chapter. And as she walked out of the room, Logan felt a sense of peace settle over him. He had made a promise to Ruth, to take care of her granddaughter. But now, he realized, he had made a promise to Anna too, to help her find her voice, to help her find her place in the world. And he would do everything in his power to keep that promise. As the days passed, The excitement of Anna's decision to share her music with the world began to settle into something more real, more tangible. Logan could see it in her eyes. This was no longer just a dream, it was her future, and she was ready for it. She practiced more than ever, pouring herself into her music as though each note held a piece of her story, a story that had yet to be fully told. Logan watched from a distance, offering quiet support, but he knew that soon, the time would come for her to take that first step out into the world beyond the mansion. He had seen the potential in Anna from the first moment she had entered his life, but now, as he watched her transform into a confident young woman, he realized just how much she had changed, not just herself, but him as well. He had always prided himself on his ability to control every aspect of his life. But Anna had taught him something else, something about trust, about letting go, and about letting life happen. One evening, as Logan sat in his study going through papers, he heard Anna's soft footsteps in the hallway. She had been practicing all day, as usual, but tonight was different. He could feel it in the air. When Anna entered the study, she was no longer the quiet girl who had arrived at his doorstep months ago. She was someone new, someone who had found her voice. She stood in front of him, her posture tall and proud, a quiet confidence radiating from her. "Logan," she said, her voice steady, "I've decided. I'm ready." Logan looked up, surprised but not entirely shocked. He had known this moment would come. "Ready for what?" he asked, his voice soft but encouraging. "I'm ready to perform," Anna replied, her eyes unwavering. "I'm ready to show the world who I am." Logan felt a surge of pride in his chest. She had grown so much, and now she was stepping into the world with a purpose. "Are you sure?" he asked gently. Anna nodded, her eyes shining with determination. "I'm sure. I want to do this. I've practiced. I know what I can do." Logan stood up and walked over to her, his hand resting on her shoulder. "I'm proud of you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You've come a long way, Anna. And I know you'll make a difference out there. But remember, you don't have to do this alone. I'll be here for you, every step of the way." Anna smiled, her eyes softening. "I know. You've already been here for me. I'll always be grateful for that." Logan felt a lump in his throat, the weight of the moment sinking in. He had watched Anna grow from a scared, uncertain girl into someone who was ready to take on the world. And now, she was stepping into her future, ready to make her mark. The next few days were filled with preparation. Logan reached out to his contacts in the music industry, arranging for Anna to perform at a charity event that was being held at a prestigious venue downtown. It was a huge opportunity for her, one that could change everything. Logan was determined to make sure she had every chance to succeed. The night of the event arrived, and Logan stood beside Anna in the dressing room, watching her as she prepared for her performance. She was quiet, focused, but there was a certain energy about her, an energy that told him she was ready. "How are you feeling?" Logan asked, his voice low. Anna looked up at him, her eyes bright with excitement. "Nervous," she admitted with a small smile, "but mostly excited." Logan chuckled softly. "That's normal. It means you care. And that's a good thing." Anna nodded, taking a deep breath. "I'm ready." As they walked out to the stage, the room was filled with anticipation. The lights were bright, the crowd buzzing with excitement. Logan could feel the tension in the air, but it wasn't just Anna who was nervous. He, too, felt the weight of the moment. This was a turning point in both of their lives. The spotlight hit Anna as she stepped up to the piano, and for a moment, everything went silent. Logan watched from the wings of the stage as she began to play, her fingers moving effortlessly over the keys. The music filled the room, and with every note, Anna seemed to shed her nervousness. She played with a passion, with a confidence that surprised even herself. Logan's heart swelled with pride as he watched her. She had done it. She had taken that first step into the world, and she had done it with grace and strength. As the final note of the song echoed through the hall, the crowd erupted into applause. Logan's eyes were fixed on Anna, who had her head tilted slightly, as though she were listening to the sound of the applause, absorbing it, allowing it to wash over her. When the applause died down, Anna stood up, her heart pounding in her chest, but a smile stretched across her face. She had done it. She had shown the world who she was, and in that moment, she knew she had found her place. Logan walked over to her, his face beaming with pride. "You were amazing," he said, his voice filled with emotion. Anna looked up at him, her smile widening. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said softly. Logan reached out and hugged her, the embrace lasting a moment longer than either of them expected. In that hug, Logan felt something shift deep within him. He had helped Anna find her voice, but she had also helped him find something he had been missing: purpose, connection, and the joy of seeing someone you care about succeed. As they left the stage together, Logan knew that this was just the beginning for Anna. She had the world at her feet, and with his support, she would go on to accomplish great things. And as for Logan, he realized that the mansion, which had once been a place of isolation, had become a place of hope, of change, and of love. The weeks that followed Anna's performance were filled with excitement and anticipation. Her name was slowly spreading throughout the music world, and Logan couldn't have been prouder. The charity event had been a huge success, and Anna had proven herself to not only the audience but also to herself. She was no longer the quiet girl who had come into his life uncertain and alone. She was now an accomplished young woman, ready to take on the world. Logan had always been a man of business, a man who made calculated decisions and stuck to them. But watching Anna perform, seeing the way her music touched the hearts of everyone in the room, made him realize just how much he had been missing in his own life. He had spent years building an empire, but in doing so, he had closed himself off from everything else. He had never known the joy of watching someone grow, watching them thrive, and it was Anna who had shown him what that felt like. As the days went by, Logan continued to support Anna in every way he could. He arranged for more performances, gave her access to the best music teachers, and ensured that she had everything she needed to succeed. But even with all the opportunities, Anna remained grounded. She never let the fame or the attention change her. She stayed humble, always focused on her music and the message she wanted to share with the world. But with each passing day, Logan noticed a change in her. She was no longer just playing for herself. She was playing for others, using her music to tell her story and to help those who had been through the same struggles she had. One evening, as they sat in the study together, Logan looked up from his papers and saw Anna sitting by the window, looking out at the night sky. Her face was lit by the soft glow of the lamp beside her, and for a moment, Logan just watched her. He had become so used to seeing her grow, but this moment felt different. She was quiet, contemplative, and he could sense that something was on her mind. "Anna," Logan said, breaking the silence, "what's on your mind?" She turned to him, her expression thoughtful. "I've been thinking about the future," she said slowly, "about what comes next." Logan leaned back in his chair, his eyes focused on her. "And what do you think comes next?" he asked, his voice gentle. Anna hesitated for a moment before speaking. "I don't know," she admitted. "I love playing music, but sometimes I feel like I'm not sure where it's taking me. I want to do more, but I don't know how." Logan's heart went out to her. He could see the uncertainty in her eyes, the same uncertainty that had once lived inside him. "Anna," he said, his voice steady, "you've already done more than most people could ever dream of. You've found your voice, and that's something not everyone gets to do. But if you want to do more, you can. The world is yours." Anna looked down at her hands, a slight smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. "Thank you, Logan," she said softly. "I don't think I could have done it without you." Logan smiled back, his eyes warm. "You've always had it in you," he said. "You just needed to believe in yourself." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of opportunities for Anna. Logan continued to help her navigate the complexities of the music industry, introducing her to influential people and ensuring she had the resources to take her music to new heights. But despite the constant attention, Anna never let it go to her head. She remained humble, always focused on her craft. One day, as they were walking through the mansion's garden, Anna turned to Logan with a serious expression on her face. "I've been thinking," she said. "I want to give back. I want to help others who've been through what I've been through. I know how hard it can be, and I want to make a difference." Logan stopped walking and looked at her, surprised but impressed by her resolve. "That's an amazing idea," he said, his voice filled with pride. "You've already inspired so many people with your music. If you want to help others, you can do that, too." Anna smiled, her eyes lighting up. "I want to start a foundation, a place where kids who have nowhere to go can find support, where they can learn music and other things that will help them get on their feet." Logan nodded, his heart swelling with pride. "I'll help you, Anna, whatever you need." The idea of starting a foundation filled Anna with excitement and purpose. It was the next logical step in her journey, a way to use her music, her platform, to help others who had been in her shoes. And Logan, for the first time in his life, found himself genuinely excited about something beyond business. Together, they began making plans for the foundation, working tirelessly to ensure that it would be a place where children could find hope, support, and a way out of their circumstances. As the foundation took shape, Anna's music career continued to flourish. She performed at sold-out venues, and her name became synonymous with talent, compassion, and resilience. But no matter how successful she became, she never lost sight of her mission to help others. She knew that her music could change lives. But her foundation, her true legacy, would do even more. And Logan, standing by her side, watched as the young girl he had once taken in under his roof grew into someone who was changing the world, one note at a time. He had given her a home, a place to grow, but in doing so, she had given him something far more valuable, the realization that there was more to life than wealth and success. There was meaning, purpose, and love. And for Logan, that was enough. Months passed, and Anna's life began to unfold in ways neither she nor Logan had anticipated. The foundation she had dreamed of was slowly becoming a reality, thanks to the support from Logan and the many people who were moved by her story. She had become a symbol of hope, not just for the children she aimed to help, but for the countless people who had watched her journey unfold. She was more than just a talented musician now. She was a force for change, a young woman who had experienced hardship and was determined to use her voice to make the world a better place. Logan couldn't help but marvel at how far Anna had come. He remembered the day she had stepped into his mansion as a quiet, uncertain girl, and now, here she was, standing tall, with a clear sense of purpose and a vision for the future. She was no longer just the girl he had promised to take care of. She was someone who was changing lives, including his own. It was an evening like any other when everything began to shift again. Logan had just returned from a business meeting when he found Anna sitting in the garden, staring out into the distance. There was a calmness to her demeanor that intrigued him, but he could tell something was on her mind. He approached her quietly, not wanting to interrupt her thoughts. "You've been thinking a lot lately," Logan said gently, standing beside her. Anna didn't look up right away, but after a moment, she nodded slowly. "I have," she said, her voice soft but steady. "About what's next?" Logan sat down beside her, giving her the space to speak. "What do you mean?" he asked, his tone curious but patient. Anna took a deep breath before speaking again, this time her words more deliberate. "I've been thinking about the future of the foundation," she began. "I want it to grow, to reach more kids who need help. But I also want to make sure I'm still doing something with my music. I don't want to lose that." Logan nodded, understanding the conflict she was facing. "You don't have to choose one or the other," he said. "You can do both. The foundation is important, but so is your music. And the truth is, they're connected. The more you succeed with your music, the more you can inspire others, the more you can help with your foundation. They feed off each other." Anna smiled softly, her eyes reflecting the glow of the setting Sunday. "I never really thought about it like that," she said, her voice thoughtful. "But you're right. Music has always been my way of communicating, my way of expressing myself. And now, with the foundation, it feels like I can do both, help people and share my story." Logan placed a hand on her shoulder, his expression one of pride and understanding. "You've always had the ability to do both," he said. "I've seen it from the very beginning. You've always had the strength to carry both your music and your dreams." Anna's smile widened at his words, and she looked out over the garden, her gaze distant but focused. "I think I'm ready to do more," she said, her voice growing more confident. "I've been thinking about performing again, but this time, I want it to be different. I want to do a concert where the proceeds go to the foundation, where the music serves a bigger purpose. I want people to hear my story, to see what I've been through, and to know that they can change their lives too." Logan was taken aback by her words. He had known Anna was capable of great things, but hearing her speak with such conviction, such purpose, made him realize just how much she had grown. "Anna, that's a brilliant idea. he said, his voice filled with admiration. You've already inspired so many people, and this concert, this idea of using your music for something even bigger will only bring more attention to your cause. I'm in. Whatever you need, I'll help make it happen. Anna turned to him, her eyes shining with excitement. Thank you, Logan, she said, her voice full of gratitude. I couldn't do this without you. You've been there for me from the very beginning, and I'll never forget that. Logan smiled, his heart swelling with pride. You've earned it all, Anna. You've worked hard for this, and now it's your time to shine. The days that followed were filled with planning and preparation. Anna's concert became the talk of the town, and the event drew in countless supporters, people who admired Anna for her music and for the incredible work she was doing with her foundation. The night of the concert, the venue was packed, and Logan stood backstage, watching as Anna took her place at the piano. The room was alive with anticipation, and as the first notes of her music filled the air, Logan couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. This was it. This was the moment that would define her music, her foundation, and everything she had worked for. Anna played with a grace and confidence that took everyone's breath away. The music seemed to flow effortlessly from her, each note telling a story, each chord resonating with emotion. As she finished the final piece, the room erupted into applause, and Logan felt a wave of pride wash over him. Anna had done it. She had shared her music with the world, and in doing so, she had made a lasting impact. After the concert, as the crowd dispersed, Logan found Anna standing by the stage, a contented smile on her face. You were amazing, Logan said, his voice filled with emotion. You really did it. Anna looked at him, her eyes glowing. I couldn't have done it without you, she said softly. Thank you for always believing in me. Logan placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice filled with warmth. You did it, Anna. You always had it in you. All I did was help you see that. As they walked off the stage together, Logan knew that this was just the beginning for Anna. She had found her voice, and now, she was using it to change the world. And Logan, standing by her side, was more than just a protector. He was a witness to her greatness, and he knew that whatever came next, she would be ready for it. The aftermath of the concert left a ripple of excitement that lasted for weeks. Anna's performance had been a massive success, not only for her music but for the foundation as well. The funds raised from the event would go a long way toward helping more children in need, and Anna had become the face of the movement for underprivileged kids who wanted to find a way out of their circumstances. Logan couldn't help but feel proud of how far she had come. He had watched her transform from a young girl in need of a home into a young woman who was using her voice to change the world. But despite the success, Logan noticed something in Anna that began to worry him. There was a quiet determination in her eyes, but also a hint of exhaustion. She had been working tirelessly, juggling her music career with her foundation's efforts, and he could tell she was beginning to burn out. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Logan found Anna in the music room, her fingers lightly grazing the keys of the piano, but not playing. She sat there, staring at the instrument as if lost in thought. Logan stood at the doorway for a moment, watching her. He knew she was the kind of person who never asked for help, never showed signs of weakness, but he could see it now. She needed a break. Anna, Logan said gently, stepping into the room. She looked up, startled, and quickly pulled her hands away from the piano. Hey, she said softly, her voice tinged with exhaustion. How are you doing? Logan asked, his tone warm but concerned. Anna shrugged, not meeting his gaze. I'm okay, she said, but Logan could hear the fatigue in her voice. I'm just tired, I guess. Logan walked over to her and sat down beside her. You've been working really hard, he said. I know how much this all means to you, but you can't do everything all at once. You need to take care of yourself, too. Anna didn't respond right away. She just looked down at her hands, twisting her fingers together. I don't know how to stop, she said finally. I feel like I have to keep going. If I don't, everything I've worked for will fall apart. Logan placed a hand on her shoulder, offering her a comforting presence. Anna, you don't have to do everything alone. You've built something incredible with the foundation, and it's already making a difference. You can't pour from an empty cup. Anna was quiet for a moment, her eyes filling with emotion. I just want to help as many people as I can, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But sometimes I feel like it's never enough. Logan smiled gently, his voice steady. It's enough, Anna. You've already done so much. More than most people could ever dream of. But you can't forget to take care of yourself. If you don't, you won't be able to keep helping others. Anna looked up at him, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. I don't know what I'd do without you, she said quietly. Logan's heart swelled with affection for her. You'll never have to worry about that, he said firmly. I'm here for you, always. For the first time in a while, Anna allowed herself to lean into the comfort Logan offered. She had always been strong, always put others first, but in that moment, she let herself rest, let herself be vulnerable. Logan knew that this was a turning point for her. She had come so far, but now it was time for her to take a step back, to heal, and to focus on herself. The next few days were a quiet reprieve for Anna. Logan arranged for her to have some time away from the pressures of her career and the foundation. He booked a small getaway for them to a quiet cabin in the mountains, a place where Anna could recharge and reflect. When they arrived, Anna was surprised at how peaceful it was. The cabin was secluded, nestled among tall trees, with a serene lake nearby. It was exactly what she needed. For the first time in months, she felt herself breathe deeply, free from the constant rush of city life and expectations. They spent their days hiking, talking, and simply enjoying the quiet beauty of the mountains. Logan watched as Anna slowly began to relax, her usual tension easing away. He could see the change in her. Her smile was brighter, her laughter more genuine. She was finally allowing herself to rest, to heal, and to find balance again. One afternoon, as they sat by the lake, Anna turned to Logan, her face thoughtful. You know, she said, I've been thinking a lot about what you said, about taking care of myself. Logan nodded, watching the ripples in the water. I'm glad, he said quietly. You deserve to be at your best, Anna. Not just for the world, but for yourself. Anna smiled, her eyes softening. I think I'm starting to understand that, she said. And I think I'm ready to find that balance, to keep going, but at my own pace. Logan reached over and gave her hand a gentle squeeze. You've got this, he said, his voice filled with confidence. You've already proven to the world how strong you are. Now it's time for you to take care of yourself, too. As the days passed, Anna found herself re-energized, her passion for music and her foundation renewed. She was ready to face the challenges ahead, but this time, she knew that she didn't have to do it alone. With Logan by her side, she felt like she could take on anything. The time at the cabin had been just what she needed, a chance to step back, reflect, and find herself again. And when they returned to the mansion, Anna was more determined than ever to continue the work she had started. She had learned that she didn't have to sacrifice herself for the sake of others. She could help the world and still take care of her own heart. And with Logan's unwavering support, she knew she would succeed. The time at the cabin had given Anna the rest and clarity she needed. With a renewed sense of purpose, she returned to the mansion, determined to continue her work with the foundation and her music career, but this time, with a sense of balance and self-care that she had been missing before. Logan watched her as she re-entered her routine, noting the peace in her movements, the calm in her voice. She was ready for whatever came next, and Logan couldn't help but feel an overwhelming sense of pride. It was not just the progress Anna had made in her music and foundation, but the growth he had witnessed in her as a person. She was no longer the young girl who had come to him for help. She was now a confident young woman, ready to take on the world. As the weeks passed, Anna's foundation grew stronger, with more children benefiting from the programs she had set in place. She had become an influential figure in the community, using her music and her story to inspire others. But despite all of the success, Anna never lost sight of her original goal: to help as many children as possible. She was determined to give others the same opportunities she had been given, and the people around her could see her passion in everything she did. One afternoon, as she sat in the mansion's library, reviewing the plans for the next fundraiser, Anna felt a familiar presence behind her. She looked up to see Logan standing in the doorway, his expression warm but serious. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" he asked, his voice gentle. Anna smiled and motioned for him to come in. "Of course. What's on your mind?" she asked, closing the folder in front of her. Logan walked over to her, his gaze focused, as if he were choosing his words carefully. "I've been thinking," he began, "about everything you've accomplished. You've built something incredible, but I also know how much of yourself you've put into this. I just want to make sure that you're not pushing yourself too hard. You've come a long way, but I don't want to see you burn out again." Anna looked at him, her expression softening. She knew he was concerned, but she also knew that the balance she had found was something she had worked hard to achieve. "I'm not pushing too hard," she said, her voice steady. "I've learned to take breaks when I need them, but thank you for looking out for me." Logan smiled, but his concern remained. "I know you've been through a lot," he said, "and I've seen how far you've come. But remember, you're not alone in this. You have people who care about you, people who want to help you." Anna's heart swelled at his words. She had always known that Logan was there for her, but hearing him say it out loud made her realize just how much she had come to rely on his support. "I know," she said quietly, "and I appreciate it more than you know." Logan placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice soft but firm. "You've got this," he said, "and I'll be here, every step of the way. But you don't have to do it all on your own, not anymore." Anna nodded, her smile widening. "Thank you, Logan," she said, her voice full of gratitude. "I wouldn't be where I am without you." Logan smiled back, his eyes filled with pride. "You've done all the hard work, Anna. I'm just glad to be a part of it." As the days passed, Anna continued to build her foundation and perform, but she also made a conscious effort to find time for herself. She took weekends off to visit her old neighborhood, meeting with the children there and sharing her story. She wanted them to know that it was possible to rise above their circumstances, just as she had. And with every visit, every performance, she felt more fulfilled. She was giving back in ways she had never imagined, and she was grateful for the opportunity. Logan continued to support her, standing by her side as both a mentor and a friend. He had watched her grow, and now, he watched her give back, using the platform she had built to make the world a better place. One evening, after another successful fundraising event for the foundation, Anna and Logan sat on the balcony of the mansion, watching the sunset. The warm orange and pink hues of the sky stretched across the horizon, casting a peaceful glow over the estate. Anna leaned back in her chair, feeling the cool breeze against her skin. "I can't believe how far we've come," she said, her voice soft but full of awe. Logan turned to her, a proud smile on his face. "I can," he said. "You've always had it in you. You just needed the right people by your side." Anna smiled, her eyes reflecting the fading sunlight. "I wouldn't have made it without you," she said quietly. "I'll never be able to thank you enough." Logan chuckled, shaking his head. "You don't need to thank me, Anna. Watching you grow, watching you make a difference, that's enough for me." They sat in silence for a few moments, the world around them quiet, peaceful. Anna felt a deep sense of gratitude in her heart. She had found her place in the world, and with Logan's support, she had built something that would last far beyond her own lifetime. She had created a legacy of hope, of resilience, and of love. And she knew, without a doubt, that this was only the beginning. The weeks following the fundraiser were a blur of activity. Anna's foundation had gained significant momentum, and with each passing day, the ripple effect of her efforts spread further. Logan watched with pride as Anna navigated her dual life of being a philanthropist and a rising star in the music world. Despite the challenges, she seemed to thrive under pressure, her passion and dedication unwavering. However, it was clear that the weight of both responsibilities was taking a toll on her. Logan had seen it before, the quiet exhaustion that comes from trying to juggle too much at once. One evening, after an especially long day of meetings and performances, Anna returned to the mansion, visibly tired but still determined. Logan was in the study when she entered, her movements slower than usual, her smile more tired. He looked up from his work, noticing the slight shift in her demeanor. "You okay?" Logan asked, his voice gentle but concerned. Anna smiled faintly, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Yeah, just a long day," she replied, sitting down across from him. Logan set aside his papers and leaned forward, studying her with a mixture of concern and affection. "You've been going nonstop for weeks, Anna," he said. "Maybe it's time to slow down a bit. You can't pour from an empty cup." Anna shook her head, her determination flickering back to life. "I can't afford to slow down," she said, her voice strong but tinged with frustration. "The kids at the foundation need me, and my music. It's all moving so fast. I don't want to lose any of it." Logan sighed, understanding the weight of her words. He knew she was trying to do everything at once, trying to be everything to everyone. But he also knew that she couldn't keep going at this pace without eventually burning out. "Anna," he said softly, "you don't have to do it all alone. You've built something incredible, but you have to take care of yourself, too. You're human, not a superhero." Anna's eyes softened, her shoulders slumping as the tension she had been holding onto began to ease. She looked down at her hands, her fingers lightly tapping on the armrest of the chair. "I know," she whispered, "but every time I try to take a break, I feel guilty, like I'm letting people down." Logan reached out, placing a hand on hers. "You're not letting anyone down," he said firmly. "The world needs you at your best, and that means taking care of yourself. You don't have to do everything all at once. It's okay to ask for help." Anna met his gaze, her eyes searching his face, as if looking for the reassurance she hadn't known she needed. After a long moment, she nodded slowly. "I've been so focused on giving to others that I forgot to take care of myself," she admitted. Logan smiled softly, giving her hand a reassuring squeeze. "It's not easy, but you don't have to carry the world on your shoulders. We'll figure this out together." Over the next few days, Anna took Logan's advice to heart. She scaled back on some of her commitments, allowing herself to rest and recharge. For the first time in months, she took a weekend off, visiting her old neighborhood to check in with some of the kids who had benefited from the foundation. The visit was a much-needed reminder of why she had started this journey in the first place. As she spent time with the children, listening to their stories and seeing the impact her foundation had made on their lives, she realized something profound. The work she was doing was making a difference, but she couldn't do it alone. Anna wasn't meant to carry the burden by herself. The weekend away helped Anna reconnect with her purpose, and when she returned to the mansion, she felt a renewed sense of energy and clarity. Logan noticed the change in her immediately. Her smile was more genuine, her eyes brighter. She had regained a sense of peace, and for the first time in a while, she seemed content. "How was the visit?" Logan asked as they sat down for dinner. Anna smiled, her heart full. "It was exactly what I needed," she said. "Spending time with the kids reminded me why I'm doing this. I'm helping people, and that's enough. But I also realized that I need to ask for help sometimes. I can't do it all on my own." Logan nodded, a proud smile tugging at his lips. "That's the first step, Anna. You're not alone in this." Over the next few months, Anna found a healthier balance in her life. She continued to perform, but she made time for herself, for the people who mattered, and for the foundation. She also began to delegate more tasks, bringing in people who shared her passion for helping children. With Logan's support, she created a team that could help her grow the foundation while she focused on what she did best, inspiring others through her music. Her music career also took off in unexpected ways. She was invited to perform at larger venues, and her albums gained traction, reaching audiences she never thought possible. But despite the fame, Anna remained grounded. She knew that her music and her foundation were connected, and she used her platform to raise awareness for the cause that meant the most to her. One evening, after a performance, Anna sat on the balcony, looking out over the mansion's sprawling grounds. Logan joined her, a glass of water in hand. "You've come a long way," he said, his voice full of admiration. Anna smiled, her eyes reflecting the stars above. "I've still got a long way to go," she said, but her tone was light, filled with hope. Logan sat beside her, his gaze on the horizon. "You've already done more than most people ever will," he said, "and you've done it with grace, with heart. I'm proud of you, Anna." Anna turned to him, her heart full of gratitude. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said quietly. Logan smiled softly. "You did it all on your own, Anna. I was just here to watch it happen." In that moment, as the night settled around them, Anna realized that she had found more than just success. She had found a purpose, a family, and a future. And with Logan by her side, she knew that no matter what came next, she would be ready. As the months passed, Anna's life began to settle into a rhythm that allowed her to balance her music career, her work with the foundation, and her own well-being. The foundation had grown significantly, helping more children each month, providing them with the support and resources they needed to build better futures. Anna's dedication had inspired countless others, and she had become a symbol of hope and resilience for those who had been through similar struggles. Despite all her success, Anna remained grounded. She still visited the children she had once known, speaking to them about the power of dreams, the importance of believing in themselves, and the incredible impact of kindness and community. Logan continued to support her in every way he could, and he marveled at how much Anna had grown. She had become not just a successful musician, but a true leader, someone whose influence extended beyond the stage and into the hearts of those around her. It was a chilly evening when the next big moment in Anna's life arrived. Logan had been planning a special event to honor Anna's achievements and to raise more funds for the foundation. It was to be an intimate gala, inviting some of the most influential people in the community, as well as the children who had benefited from Anna's foundation. The event was held at a luxurious venue, and as the night went on, Anna took a moment to step outside onto the balcony. She needed a break from the crowd, from the music, from the flashing lights. It had been a whirlwind of performances, speeches, and celebrations, and she was grateful for every bit of it, but she also needed a quiet moment to reflect. Logan noticed she had stepped out and quietly followed her, giving her the space she needed but still wanting to be there for her. He found her standing by the railing, looking out over the city lights. The glow from the stars above mixed with the soft lights of the city below, and the scene was peaceful, almost surreal. "Anna," Logan said softly, his voice low but carrying over the cool night air. Anna turned, a smile on her face, though it was clear she was deep in thought. "It's beautiful out here," she said. "It's hard to believe how far everything's come. Sometimes it feels like all of this is a dream." Logan stepped closer, standing beside her as they both took in the view. "I think you've made it your reality," he said, his voice full of pride. "This is all because of your hard work, your vision, and your heart. You've created something that will last." Anna smiled, but there was a hint of something else in her eyes, something she hadn't shared with anyone. "Sometimes, I still feel like I'm not doing enough," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I see so many children out there, and I want to help them all, but sometimes I feel like there's only so much I can do." Logan looked at her, his gaze steady and warm. "You've already done more than most people ever will," he said firmly, "and you're still doing it every day. You can't save everyone, Anna, but you're changing lives, one person at a time." Anna looked down, her hands resting on the railing. "I want to do more," she said softly. "I want to make a real, lasting impact." Logan smiled and placed a hand on her shoulder. "You are," he said. "Don't forget that. You're already doing it, every day, in ways you can't even see yet." Anna nodded, though her thoughts were still clouded. She had always been driven by the desire to help, to change the world, but the weight of that responsibility was sometimes overwhelming. Logan sensed her struggle, and after a moment of silence, he spoke again, his voice full of understanding. "You don't have to do everything alone," he said, "and you don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. What you're doing now is enough. You're making a difference, and that's all anyone can ask for." Anna turned to him, her heart filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Logan," she said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I don't know what I'd do without you. You've always been there for me." Logan smiled, his eyes soft. "You're stronger than you think, Anna," he said, "and I'll always be here, cheering you on, but you've already made the world a better place. Don't forget that." The rest of the evening was filled with laughter and joy, as Anna took the stage to perform one of her most heartfelt songs. The crowd was captivated by her music, moved by the story she had shared through her foundation, and inspired by her message of hope. As she sang, Logan watched her from the side of the stage, a proud smile on his face. He had watched Anna grow from a girl who had no idea what her future would hold to a young woman who was changing lives and inspiring a generation. As the night came to an end, Anna and Logan found themselves standing together on the balcony once more. The event had been a huge success, and the funds raised would go a long way toward helping the foundation continue its work. But more than that, Anna had shared her story with the world, and that was something far more powerful than any amount of money. "You did it," Logan said, his voice full of admiration. "You've made a difference." Anna smiled, her heart full. "We did it," she corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." Logan placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice steady and filled with pride. You did the hard work, Anna. You've earned everything you've achieved, and I'll always be here to support you, no matter what comes next. Anna looked up at the stars, a contented sigh escaping her lips. I think I'm finally starting to believe that, she said, and for the first time in a long while, she truly felt at peace with the journey ahead. As the months passed, Anna's foundation continued to thrive. But so did the challenges that came with it. The more successful the foundation became, the more Anna felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. She had dedicated so much of herself to her music, to helping others, and to her own growth that she sometimes forgot to take a step back and breathe. She had worked so hard to build something lasting, but it wasn't just the foundation she was building, it was her future, and it was all moving so fast. Logan had noticed the exhaustion in her eyes, despite the smile she wore for the world. He knew she was pushing herself harder than ever, but he also knew she couldn't keep this up forever. One afternoon, as Anna sat in the music room, playing a soft tune on the piano, Logan entered and leaned against the doorframe, watching her. She had been playing a lot more lately, and he could see the way her fingers danced across the keys with grace, but there was something different about the way she played now. The music was still beautiful, but it lacked the spark it once had. He decided it was time to have another conversation with her, the kind of conversation he had been putting off. Anna, he said, his voice gentle but firm. She stopped playing and turned to him, her eyes meeting his with a mixture of surprise and weariness. Hey, she said, offering him a small, tired smile. What's up? Logan walked over to her, taking a seat beside her on the bench. I've been noticing something, he began, his tone careful. You've been working yourself to the bone. The foundation, the music, everything, it's a lot, Anna, and I can see it starting to take a toll on you. You're not the same person you were when you first started all of this. Anna looked away, her gaze drifting to the window as if she could avoid the truth. I'm fine, she said, but there was no conviction in her voice. Logan could tell she was trying to convince herself, as much as she was trying to convince him. No, you're not, Logan replied softly. You're pushing yourself too hard. And I know you're trying to do everything, but you don't have to do it all alone. Anna bit her lip, a familiar defensive gesture. I have to keep going, she said quietly. There's so much to do. So many people who need help. I can't stop now, not when we're making a real difference. Logan understood her desire to keep moving forward, to not let the momentum slow down, but he also knew that she couldn't pour from an empty cup. I get it, he said, but you can't help others if you're burning yourself out in the process. You've given so much already, Anna. Now, it's time to give yourself a break. It's okay to rest. It's okay to ask for help. You don't have to carry everything on your shoulders. Anna sat in silence, the weight of his words sinking in. She had always been the strong one, the one who didn't ask for help, the one who took care of everyone around her. But now, for the first time, she saw the truth in what Logan was saying. She was running on empty, and it was only a matter of time before she couldn't keep going. I don't know how to stop, she admitted, her voice small. I feel like if I do, everything will fall apart. Logan reached out, placing a hand on hers, offering comfort. It won't fall apart, he said gently. Your foundation, your music, everything you've worked for, it's all strong. But you need to be strong, too. And that means taking care of yourself. We'll figure out a way to keep everything going without you burning out, but you have to let others help. Anna looked at him, her heart heavy with gratitude. For the first time in a long while, she felt like she didn't have to carry the weight of the world alone. She didn't have to do it all. I don't know what I'd do without you, she said, her voice full of emotion. Logan smiled, squeezing her hand. You're never alone in this, Anna. I've got your back, and so does the team. You've built something incredible, but now it's time to let others share the load. Anna nodded, the tears that had been building up threatening to spill over. She had always been the one to take charge, to lead, but in this moment, she realized that it was okay to let go, to trust the people around her. I think I need some time, she said, her voice quiet but determined, to recharge, to figure out what's next for me, and for the foundation. Logan nodded in understanding. Take all the time you need, he said. We'll keep things going, and when you're ready, you'll come back even stronger. That evening, after their conversation, Anna made the decision to step back for a little while. She took some time off from performing and decided to focus on the foundation's operations from a distance, allowing her team to take the reins. She spent the next few weeks visiting the children who had been impacted by the foundation, spending time with them and reconnecting with the reason she had started this journey. It was a chance for her to remember why she had chosen this path and to heal. Logan supported her every step of the way, and together, they found a new balance for her life. She wasn't just Anna the musician or Anna the philanthropist. She was Anna, the person, and she deserved to care for herself, too. When she returned to the mansion, she felt renewed, her heart lighter and her mind clearer. She knew she couldn't do it all, but with Logan by her side and the support of the foundation's team, she realized that she didn't have to. The world she had worked so hard to build would continue, and now, she would have the energy and strength to keep growing it, step by step, without losing herself in the process. As Anna settled into a new rhythm, embracing her decision to take a step back from the fast pace of her life, she found herself reconnecting with her roots. She had spent so much time building the foundation and her music career that she had lost sight of the simple joy that had once driven her. She knew the importance of balance now, of living not just for others but for herself as well. The few months of rest had been a much-needed break, allowing her to reflect on everything she had accomplished and everything still to come. But now, she was ready to step back into the world, with a clearer mind and a stronger heart. Logan had been her steady support throughout this period. He had seen her struggle, her determination, and her growth. And now, he could see the shift in her. She was more at peace, more focused. There was no rush, no pressure, just a calm confidence that she could handle whatever came next. It was a sunny afternoon when the next chapter of Anna's journey unfolded. She was sitting in the living room of the mansion, working on a new song, when Logan entered, holding a piece of paper in his hand. "Hey, Anna," he said, his voice casual but with an underlying excitement. "You might want to take a look at this." Anna looked up from her notebook, surprised by the serious tone in his voice. Logan handed her the paper, and as she scanned the contents, her eyes widened. It was an invitation to perform at one of the most prestigious events in the country, an exclusive gala attended by philanthropists, musicians, and influential figures from around the world. The event would bring together leaders in both the entertainment and charitable sectors, and the organizers had specifically requested Anna to perform. It was an incredible opportunity, one that could elevate her music career and expand the reach of her foundation. Anna took a deep breath, her fingers trembling slightly as she held the invitation. She knew this was a big moment, but a part of her hesitated. After everything she had been through, after learning to find balance, was she ready for another leap into the spotlight? Logan noticed her hesitation and sat beside her, giving her a reassuring smile. "It's a huge opportunity, Anna," he said softly. "But you don't have to rush into anything. You've come so far, and now it's about doing what feels right for you." Anna took a moment to process the invitation, her mind racing with the possibilities. She had always dreamed of performing at such a prestigious event, but there was something different about this moment. She wasn't just thinking about her music or her career anymore. She was thinking about the people she had helped, the children who had found hope through her foundation. This performance could mean so much more than just another show. It could be a platform to speak for those who didn't have a voice. "I think I'm ready," Anna said finally, her voice steady, her decision clear. "Not just for the performance, but for what it represents. I want to show the world what we're doing with the foundation. I want to use this moment to do more, to help more people." Logan smiled, proud of her determination. "I knew you'd make the right choice," he said, his voice full of admiration. "You've always known how to make an impact, and this is your time to shine, to show everyone just how far you've come." The days leading up to the gala were filled with preparation. Anna rehearsed tirelessly, determined to give her best performance yet. She was more focused than ever, but this time, she wasn't just performing for the applause. She was performing for the children she had promised to help, for the future of her foundation, and for everyone who had believed in her from the beginning. Logan, ever the supportive figure, was by her side every step of the way. He helped organize the details, ensuring that everything went smoothly, from the logistics of the performance to the promotion of the foundation at the event. The night of the gala arrived, and the atmosphere was electric. The venue was grand, filled with elegantly dressed guests, and the air buzzed with anticipation. Anna stood backstage, her heart pounding with excitement. She could hear the hum of conversation from the crowd, and she knew that this was her moment. As she walked onto the stage, the spotlight hit her, and the room fell silent. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment, but instead of letting it overwhelm her, she embraced it. She was ready. Anna sat at the piano, the soft melody of her song filling the room. As she played, the audience was captivated, not just by her musical talent, but by the raw emotion she conveyed through every note. Her performance was more than just a showcase of her abilities. It was a declaration of everything she had worked for: the foundation, the children she had helped, and the community she had built. The audience was moved, many of them wiping away tears as Anna's music touched their hearts. It was a moment of pure connection, where the power of music transcended the stage and reached into the souls of everyone in the room. As the last note lingered in the air, the room erupted into applause. Anna stood up, her heart racing with a mix of exhilaration and gratitude. She had done it not just for herself, but for everyone who had supported her along the way. Logan, standing at the edge of the stage, watched her with pride. This was the culmination of all her hard work, all her dedication, and it was just the beginning. After the performance, Anna was surrounded by guests, many of whom had been moved by her story. The foundation's work was highlighted throughout the evening, and the funds raised that night would go a long way toward expanding its reach. As the night came to a close, Anna found herself standing alone on the balcony, looking out over the city. The lights of the gala still flickered in the distance, but the moment was quiet now, peaceful. Logan approached her, standing beside her in comfortable silence. "You were incredible," he said softly, his voice full of admiration. Anna turned to him, her eyes filled with a mix of emotions. "Thank you for always believing in me," she said quietly. "I couldn't have done this without you," Logan smiled, his gaze steady and full of pride. "You did it all on your own, Anna. You just needed the right platform to show the world what you're capable of. And you've done that." As they stood there, side by side, Anna realized that this was the moment she had been waiting for, not just as an artist, but as a person. She had found her purpose, and she was ready to keep moving forward, with Logan by her side and the world at her feet. The weeks following the gala were a whirlwind of activity for Anna, but this time, things felt different. The success of the event had exceeded her expectations, and the foundation had received more support than ever before. As the donations poured in, Anna found herself standing at the crossroads of her future, wondering what the next step would be. She had always been driven by a deep sense of purpose, but now, more than ever, she was beginning to realize that her journey was bigger than just her music or the foundation. It was about the impact she was making on the world. Logan had been by her side through it all, supporting her not only as a friend but as someone who had become an integral part of her life. He was the steady presence she needed, offering guidance, comfort, and a sense of security as she navigated the challenges of balancing her career and her passion for helping others. One afternoon, as Anna sat in the living room of the mansion, reviewing plans for the next fundraiser, Logan entered with a serious look on his face. "We need to talk," he said, his voice calm but carrying an underlying concern. Anna looked up from her notes, sensing the shift in his tone. "What's going on?" she asked, setting the papers aside. Logan took a seat across from her, his expression thoughtful. "I've been thinking about the foundation, about everything you've built. You've done incredible things, Anna, but I can see that you're starting to stretch yourself thin. I'm worried that you're taking on too much again." Anna's heart sank at his words. She had been so focused on making a difference that she hadn't fully realized how much she was pushing herself. The truth was, she had been feeling overwhelmed for a while, but she hadn't allowed herself to acknowledge it. "I know I've been working a lot," she said quietly, her gaze dropping to her hands, "but there's still so much to do. The kids need more help, the foundation needs more resources. I can't stop now." Logan leaned forward, his eyes meeting hers. "You're right. The work is important, but so are you. You can't give everything if you're running on empty. You've already done so much, and it's okay to take a step back and ask for help. You don't have to carry all of this alone." Anna felt a wave of emotion wash over her. She had always been the one to take charge, to be the strong one, But in this moment, she realized that she couldn't keep doing it all by herself. Logan was right. She needed to find a way to balance her passion for helping others with taking care of herself. "I don't want to let anyone down," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Logan reached across the table, placing his hand gently over hers. "You won't let anyone down, Anna. You've already changed so many lives, and you're going to keep doing that. But you can't pour from an empty cup. You need to make time for yourself, too. It's okay to rest. It's okay to take a break. And you don't have to do it all right now." Anna looked up at him, her heart swelling with gratitude. She had always known that Logan was there for her, but in this moment, hearing him speak so honestly and with so much care, she felt an overwhelming sense of relief. She wasn't alone in this. She had people who cared about her, who wanted her to succeed, but also wanted her to be happy and healthy. "Thank you," she said softly. "I've been so focused on the work, on making a difference, that I forgot to take care of myself. I think I needed to hear that." Logan smiled, his eyes filled with affection. "You're doing amazing things, Anna," he said, "but you're allowed to rest, too. You've already proven that you can handle anything that comes your way, and now it's time to take a step back and focus on yourself for a bit." The next few weeks were a period of transition for Anna. She took Logan's words to heart and began to delegate more of the responsibilities to her team, trusting them to carry the load. She took time for herself, reading, relaxing, and reconnecting with the things that had once brought her joy. The break was exactly what she needed. She spent more time with the children from the foundation, meeting with them, listening to their stories, and reminding herself why she had started this journey in the first place. Anna also took time to reflect on her music. She spent hours composing, but this time, she didn't feel the pressure of performance or deadlines. It was just her music, and the freedom to create without restriction. Slowly, the spark that had once ignited her passion returned. One afternoon, as she was sitting in the garden, playing her latest composition, Logan approached, watching her from a distance. When she finished, he walked over and sat beside her. "That was beautiful," he said quietly. Anna smiled, a sense of peace settling over her. "I've missed this," she admitted. "The music, the quiet moments. I think I needed to find myself again before I could keep giving to others." Logan nodded, understanding. "You've always had it in you, Anna. You just needed to remind yourself of that." Anna took a deep breath, feeling a sense of calm she hadn't felt in a long time. "I'm ready now," she said, her voice steady, ready to keep going, but this time, with balance. Logan smiled, proud of her. "You've come a long way," he said, "and I'm proud of everything you've accomplished, but what matters most is that you're happy and healthy. You've found your purpose, and now you're going to change even more lives." Anna looked out at the horizon, the future stretching before her. She had found peace within herself, and she knew that with Logan's support, she could continue to make a difference, one step at a time. She had come so far, but she knew that this was only the beginning. As the weeks continued to pass, Anna found herself in a place she had never imagined before, at peace with her work, her music, and most importantly, herself. She had taken time to rest and reflect, and now, she was ready to take on the next phase of her journey. The foundation was stronger than ever, and her music had reached new heights, with sold-out performances and albums that were gaining recognition worldwide. But even with all the success, there was still a part of Anna that felt restless. She had always believed in helping others, but now she wondered if there was more she could do. The children she had been helping through her foundation were thriving, and she was proud of the work they were doing, but Anna knew there was still more to be done. She wanted to do more for the community that had supported her, and for the people who had helped her become the person she was today. It was a rainy afternoon when the idea first came to her. She had just finished writing a new song, one that felt different from everything she had done before. It was a song about resilience, about overcoming adversity, and about finding strength in the face of hardship. As she sat at the piano, her mind started to race. She had always used her music as a way to connect with others, but this song felt like it could be more. It could be the beginning of something bigger, something that could inspire real change. After playing the song for Logan, she told him about her idea. She wanted to take the message of the song and turn it into a campaign, one that would raise awareness for the issues that mattered most to her and her foundation. The song would be the heart of the campaign, and she would use her platform to share it with the world. "I think this could be the next big step," Anna said, her eyes shining with determination. "It's not just about the music anymore. It's about the message. I want to reach more people and make a real difference." Logan listened intently, his gaze steady as he absorbed her words. He had seen Anna go through so much to get to this point, and he could see how much passion she had for this new idea. He could also see the fire in her eyes, the same fire that had driven her since the beginning. "You've always known how to make a difference," he said. "I think this could be your next big project. You have the power to inspire people in a way that few others do. This could be a game changer for the foundation and for the message you want to spread." Anna smiled, feeling the weight of his words settle in her heart. She knew he was right. She had always used her voice to inspire, but now it was time to use it for something bigger, something more meaningful. It was time to make her mark on the world in a way that would leave a lasting impact. Over the next few weeks, Anna worked tirelessly to bring her idea to life. She collaborated with the foundation's team to create a campaign that would use the song to raise awareness for the causes she cared about. The campaign would focus on giving children the tools they needed to overcome obstacles, whether it was through education, access to resources, or simply the belief that they could achieve their dreams. The song would be the centerpiece, a reminder that no matter how difficult life got, there was always a way to push through and keep going. The campaign was launched with great fanfare. Anna performed the song at several major events, each time sharing the story behind it and the message of hope that came with it. The response was overwhelming. People from all walks of life were moved by the song and by Anna's commitment to using her platform for change. Social media was flooded with posts from fans and supporters, sharing the song and spreading the message of resilience and strength. For Anna, this was the moment she had been waiting for. She was no longer just an artist. She was a leader, someone whose voice could inspire real change. And with Logan by her side, she knew that nothing could stop her. As the campaign gained momentum, Anna found herself invited to speak at major events, panels, and interviews, each time sharing her story and the story of the children she had helped through her foundation. She was becoming a powerful voice for social change, using her music and her platform to fight for the causes that mattered most. But even as she achieved new heights, Anna never lost sight of the people who had helped her along the way. She continued to visit the children at the foundation, to spend time with them, and to remind them that they were never alone. As her music continued to spread, so did the impact of her foundation. With the support of the campaign, they were able to provide scholarships, mentorship programs, and opportunities for children who had once felt forgotten. Anna's dream of helping others was becoming a reality, and she was living proof that anything was possible with hard work, dedication, and the courage to keep going. One evening, after a particularly emotional performance, Anna sat in the quiet of her dressing room, reflecting on everything she had accomplished. Logan entered, his presence comforting, and sat beside her. "You did it," he said, his voice filled with pride. "You've changed so many lives, Anna. You've made a real difference." Anna smiled softly, her heart full of gratitude. "We did it," she corrected, her eyes shining with emotion. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." Logan reached over, giving her hand a reassuring squeeze. "You've always had it in you," he said. "I just helped you believe in yourself." As Anna looked out the window, the weight of everything she had achieved began to settle in. She had built something that would last, something that would continue to impact lives for years to come. And with Logan by her side, she knew the journey was far from over. She had found her purpose, and nothing was going to stop her from continuing to make a difference. As Anna's campaign continued to gain traction, she found herself standing at the pinnacle of a new chapter in her life. Her music had taken on a deeper meaning, transcending mere performance to become a vehicle for change. Her foundation had grown exponentially, and with the success of her latest campaign, the number of children she was able to help had reached new heights. But with all of this came an unexpected challenge, managing the balance between her personal life and the work that had become all-consuming. While Anna had always been driven, there were moments when she longed for simplicity, for quiet moments without the constant demands of being in the spotlight. Logan, ever present, noticed the subtle signs of strain that Anna wasn't always willing to admit to herself. He could see how much she had given, how much she had poured into her foundation and her music, and he knew that the weight of it all was starting to take its toll. One evening, after a particularly exhausting day of meetings and press interviews, Anna sat in the study, her face tired but resolute as she reviewed the next steps for the foundation. She was preparing for a large fundraising event that would take place in just a few weeks. It would be one of the most important events of the year, and Anna was determined to make it a success. Logan entered the room, his presence a calm in the storm of her busy schedule. "Anna, you need to rest," he said gently, as he observed her overworked demeanor. Anna glanced up, offering him a tired smile. "I'm fine," she said, though the exhaustion in her voice betrayed her words. Logan sat across from her, his expression soft but serious. "I know you're fine, but you're not okay. You've been pushing yourself too hard. It's important to take a step back, even if it's just for a moment." Anna sighed, her fingers running through her hair as she closed the folder in front of her. "I know, but there's so much to do," she said, her voice tinged with frustration. "If I don't keep pushing, we'll lose momentum. The foundation, the kids we're helping, they depend on me." Logan's heart ached for her. He understood her sense of responsibility, her need to help, but he also knew that she couldn't continue at this pace forever. "Anna," he said softly, "you've already done more than most people could dream of. The foundation is thriving, and so are you. You've built something incredible, but you can't give everything if you're not taking care of yourself. You need to rest. You deserve it." For a long moment, Anna said nothing. She was quiet, her eyes focused on the desk, deep in thought. She wanted to argue, to tell Logan that she couldn't slow down, that there was always more to be done. But deep down, she knew he was right. She was running on empty, and if she didn't give herself the space to recharge, she would risk burning out. "I just don't want to disappoint anyone," she whispered, her voice small. Logan reached across the table, his hand gently covering hers. "You won't disappoint anyone, Anna. Everyone who's been a part of this journey with you knows how much you've given. They're proud of you. But you need to be proud of yourself, too. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary." Anna looked up at him, her eyes searching his face for any trace of doubt. She found none. Logan's unwavering support and belief in her had always been a guiding light, and in that moment, she realized that it was okay to ask for help, to take a step back, and to breathe. "You're right," she said quietly. "I've been so focused on the work that I forgot about myself. I think I need to rest, for a little while." Logan smiled, his eyes soft with affection. "That's all I'm asking," he said. "You've built something amazing, Anna, but now it's time to take care of you." Over the next few days, Anna took Logan's advice to heart. She canceled some of her upcoming meetings, delegated more tasks to her team, and allowed herself the time to rest. She spent the next weekend at the mansion, reading, taking long walks in the garden, and simply enjoying the quiet. For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. It wasn't that she had abandoned her mission, it was that she had realized that to keep moving forward, she had to recharge. As the week passed, Anna found a new sense of clarity. She had always been driven, always been determined, but now she realized that true strength didn't come from pushing herself until she broke it, came from knowing when to pause, to reflect, and to reconnect with herself. When she returned to her work, she did so with a renewed sense of purpose. The upcoming fundraising event was still a priority, but Anna approached it with a calm confidence, knowing that everything would fall into place because she had taken the time to prepare, not just in terms of her work, but in terms of her own well-being. On the night of the event, Anna stood backstage, looking out at the crowd. The venue was filled with influential people from the community, all gathered to support the foundation and the work she had built. As the night unfolded, she felt a deep sense of pride. This wasn't just about the money that was being raised, it was about the connections, the people who believed in the same cause, and the children whose lives were being changed. When it was her turn to take the stage, Anna stood in front of the microphone, her heart beating with excitement. She smiled, feeling the support of everyone in the room. This wasn't just a performance. This was a celebration of the journey she had taken, and the journey she would continue to take. with Logan by her side and her foundation growing stronger with every passing day. As she spoke, she felt the weight of the moment settle over her, but in a good way. This was what she had been working for, this was the purpose she had found, and she knew that with each step forward, she was making the world a little bit better. And that, she realized, was enough. As the months went by, Anna continued to thrive, both personally and professionally. The success of her campaign had set the stage for even more incredible opportunities, and her foundation was reaching new heights. She had learned the value of taking time for herself, of finding balance between her work and her well-being. With Logan's unwavering support, Anna was learning to navigate the complexities of being both an artist and an advocate, with a sense of peace that had once felt impossible to achieve. Yet, as she looked toward the future, Anna found herself facing new challenges that tested her resolve. The foundation was growing, but so were the expectations placed on her. More people were reaching out for help, more events were being scheduled, and more eyes were on her as she continued to use her platform to make a difference. Despite the weight of it all, Anna felt the familiar spark of determination igniting inside her. She had always believed in the power of using her voice for good, and now, more than ever, she was determined to ensure that her foundation would have the lasting impact she had dreamed of. One evening, after a particularly busy day of meetings, Anna sat down with Logan in the quiet of the mansion's living room. The soft light of the setting sun filtered through the windows, casting a golden glow over the space. Logan, sensing that Anna had something on her mind, leaned forward. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice gentle. Anna paused, taking a deep breath. "I've been thinking about the future," she said, her voice steady but filled with thoughtfulness. "About what's next for the foundation. We've come so far, but I can't help but wonder if there's more we can do." Logan listened intently, his gaze never leaving her. He had seen Anna struggle with this desire to do more, to make an even bigger impact. She was always looking ahead, always thinking of ways to help more people. "I think there's always more to be done," he said softly. "But remember, you don't have to solve everything at once. You've already made a huge difference in so many lives. The foundation is doing incredible work." Anna nodded, appreciating his words, but there was still a part of her that felt restless. "I know," she said, "but I want to take it even further. I want to reach more children, give them even more opportunities to succeed. And I'm thinking about expanding, maybe even creating new programs to help them in other ways, not just through music." Logan smiled, proud of Anna's vision. He knew how much this meant to her, how deeply she cared about the children and their futures. "You're always thinking of new ways to help," he said, "and that's one of the things I admire most about you. You've created something amazing, but it's okay to take it step by step. You don't have to have all the answers right now." Anna smiled, her eyes softening as she looked at him. "I know," she said. "I just feel like there's so much more to do. And sometimes, I wonder if I'm doing enough." Logan reached over, placing his hand gently over hers. "You're doing more than enough," he said, his voice filled with certainty. "You've created a legacy, Anna, and every step you take from here will only make it stronger. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You've already changed so many lives, and that's something to be proud of." Anna leaned back in her chair, her fingers still gently resting on Logan's. His words had a calming effect on her, reminding her that she didn't have to do it all at once, that the impact she had already made was enough. It was easy for her to get caught up in the idea that she needed to do more, but Logan was right. The foundation was growing, and the work they had already done was making a real difference. She took a deep breath, feeling a weight lift from her shoulders. "You're right," she said, her voice steadier. "Maybe I'm rushing things. I just don't want to stop. I want to keep going." Logan smiled and gave her hand a reassuring squeeze. "You don't have to stop," he said. "But taking a break doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're ready for the next big thing." Over the next few weeks, Anna took a step back, allowing herself to reflect on what she truly wanted for the future. She continued to focus on her music, taking the time to write and perform, but she also allowed herself the space to dream and plan for the future of the foundation. Anna knew that in order to keep pushing forward, she needed to take care of herself first. Logan had been right, her health and well-being had to come first. As Anna began to feel more grounded, she also started to see the bigger picture. She wasn't just creating a foundation or a career in music. She was building a movement, one that would continue to inspire and empower generations to come. But she also knew that she couldn't do it all alone. The team she had built around her was crucial to the success of the foundation, and she was learning to trust them more, to share the load. It was a Saturday afternoon when Anna had the idea that would take her foundation to the next level. She had been brainstorming ways to expand their outreach when it came to education and mentorship programs. The thought of reaching more children, not just through music but also through academic and life skills, filled her with excitement. She couldn't wait to bring the idea to her team. The following Monday, Anna sat down with her foundation's board, explaining her vision for a new initiative that would pair music education with mentorship programs in schools across the country. She talked about her desire to help children not only find their voices through music but also learn the life skills they needed to succeed. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Her team was excited to help turn the vision into reality, and within weeks, they had already begun planning the first pilot program. As Anna moved forward with this new initiative, she felt more confident than ever. With the support of her team, and with Logan's constant belief in her, she knew that they could achieve anything they set their minds to. The road ahead would be filled with challenges, but Anna was ready to take them on. With each new step, she realized that the journey she had begun was not just about her, it was about all the children, all the lives she was changing, and the legacy she was building, one child at a time. As Anna's vision for the new mentorship and education initiative began to take shape, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The pilot program was taking off with remarkable speed, and the response from schools, communities, and the children themselves was overwhelmingly positive. For Anna, seeing the impact of her work on such a grand scale was both humbling and exhilarating. It was everything she had hoped for, the fusion of her passion for music and her desire to make a lasting difference in the lives of children. But with the program expanding, Anna found herself back in the whirlwind of nonstop work. There were meetings to attend, decisions to be made, and new partnerships to form. The foundation had grown so much that Anna was constantly pulled in different directions, and the pressure was beginning to weigh on her again. Logan, ever attentive to her well-being, noticed the signs of her slipping into old habits, the long hours, the sense of urgency that seemed to follow her wherever she went. He could see the exhaustion in her eyes, the way she often brushed off his offers to help, convinced that she had to do it all herself. One evening, as Anna sat at her desk, her mind racing with a dozen tasks, Logan quietly entered the room. He leaned against the doorframe, watching her for a moment. The soft light from the desk lamp illuminated her tired face. "Anna," he said, his voice gentle but firm, "you've done so much already, but you can't do it all at once. You need to slow down." Anna didn't look up immediately, her focus fixed on the papers before her. She had been pushing herself hard, believing that there was always more to do, always something that could be better, more efficient. But even as she heard Logan's words, she knew he was right. She sighed and finally met his gaze. "I don't know how to stop, Logan," she confessed, her voice soft but filled with vulnerability. "There's always something else. There are more kids to help, more programs to run, more partnerships to create." Logan walked over and sat next to her, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "I understand, but you're not alone in this. You've built an incredible team, and they are there to support you. But you have to take care of yourself, too. You can't pour from an empty cup." Anna closed her eyes for a moment, taking a deep breath. She had heard these words before, and deep down, she knew their truth. She was trying to juggle too much, and she was starting to feel the weight of it all. "I know," she whispered, "but I feel like I can't let go. What if something falls apart?" Logan's voice softened, his tone filled with empathy. "Nothing will fall apart. The foundation is strong because of you and your vision. But to keep it strong, you need to take time to rest and recharge. You're not abandoning the work, you're giving yourself the chance to come back stronger." Anna looked at him, her heart heavy with gratitude. She had always been the one to push through, to never stop, but Logan's words were slowly sinking in. She realized that she had built something that could continue to grow without her constantly carrying the load. It was time to trust her team and allow herself the space she needed. "You're right," she said finally, her voice steady. "I've been running on empty. and I think I've been afraid that if I slow down, everything will fall apart. But I see now that I can't keep going like this." Logan smiled, his eyes full of understanding. "You don't have to do it all by yourself," he said, "and you deserve time to breathe." Over the next few days, Anna made the difficult but necessary decision to step back from some of her day-to-day responsibilities. She entrusted more of the leadership to her team and allowed herself to take breaks without guilt. She spent time reconnecting with herself, taking walks, reading, and even picking up her guitar to write new music. For the first time in months, Anna felt a sense of peace wash over her. She realized that, in her quest to help others, she had neglected the most important thing, her own well-being. As she rested and recharged, she found herself rediscovering the joy that had first drawn her to music and helping others. The more time she spent in this space, the more she understood that self-care wasn't a luxury, it was essential to being able to give her best to others. One evening, as Anna sat in the garden, Logan joined her, sitting quietly beside her. The sun had set, and the sky was painted with shades of pink and purple. Anna turned to him, her face calm and content. "I'm ready to get back to work," she said, her voice full of clarity. "But this time, I'm doing it differently. I'm not going to burn out again. I'm going to take it step by step, and I'm going to trust the people around me more." Logan smiled warmly, proud of the progress she had made. "You're already making a difference, Anna. You've built something that's bigger than you, and that's powerful. Just remember, it's okay to lean on others. It's okay to take a step back when you need to." Anna nodded, her heart full of gratitude. "Thank you, Logan. I couldn't have done this without you. You've always believed in me, even when I couldn't believe in myself." Logan's smile deepened. "You've always had it in you, Anna. You just needed to give yourself permission to rest and trust." As Anna returned to her work with renewed energy and focus, she found a new sense of purpose. She had learned that the journey was not just about what she could give, but about how she took care of herself along the way. With Logan by her side, and her team's unwavering support, Anna knew that she could continue to make a lasting impact without losing herself in the process. The future was brighter than ever, and Anna was ready to face whatever came next one step at a time. As Anna entered the final phase of her journey, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment that she had never imagined possible. The mentorship program had expanded, reaching more schools and children than ever before. Her music, once a personal passion, had now become the heartbeat of her movement, a force for change that reached beyond the stage and into the hearts of thousands. The foundation continued to grow, its impact undeniable. But Anna now knew how to balance the demands of her work with the need to protect her own well-being. She had learned that being a leader didn't mean doing everything herself. It meant trusting the team she had built, trusting her instincts, and understanding the power of taking a step back when needed. Logan, who had been her constant companion throughout every step of this journey, watched her with a pride that was impossible to ignore. He had seen her transform from a young woman filled with uncertainty into someone who was not only making a difference but was also confident in her ability to sustain that impact. She was no longer just Anna the musician or Anna the founder. She was Anna, a leader, a mentor, and a beacon of hope for so many. As they sat together one evening in the mansion, reflecting on everything they had accomplished, Anna turned to Logan, her eyes filled with a quiet sense of peace. "I never imagined it would be like this," she said softly, her voice filled with emotion. "I always thought success was about what I could do, how many performances I could give, how many records I could sell. But now, I see it's about so much more. It's about what we give to each other, how we build something together, how we help others find their own way." Logan smiled, his eyes soft with affection. "You've always had that in you, Anna. It was never about the fame or the accolades. It was about the heart behind everything you do. And now, the world can see that." Anna smiled, feeling the weight of his words settle in her heart. "I could never have done this without you," she said quietly. Logan's smile deepened, and he reached over, placing a hand over hers. "You've done it all, Anna. You've created something beautiful, something that will continue to help people long after we're gone. You're an inspiration, and you've made an impact in ways you might never fully realize." As the night stretched on, Anna reflected on the path that had brought her here. There had been times when she had questioned herself, times when the pressure had felt like too much to bear. But now, Looking back, she understood that every struggle, every sacrifice, had led her to this moment. She had created a legacy not just through her music, but through the lives she had touched, the children she had helped, and the community she had built. And it wasn't just about the foundation or her career, it was about the difference she had made in the hearts of others. As Anna and Logan sat there, their conversation turning to the future, she knew that the journey wasn't over. There were still challenges to face, still opportunities to seize, but now, she was ready to face them with a calm confidence. She understood the importance of balance, of taking the time to recharge, and of trusting the people around her. She had learned to lean on her team, to trust in the foundation she had built, and to know that no matter what, she wasn't alone. "What's next?" Anna asked, her voice full of curiosity and excitement. Logan leaned back, his eyes thoughtful. "Whatever you want it to be," he said. "You've already achieved so much, Anna. You've built something that will continue to change the world. Now, it's about continuing to grow, to inspire, and to stay true to who you are. The possibilities are endless." Anna smiled, her heart swelling with a mix of gratitude and anticipation. "I know," she said softly, "and whatever comes next, I'm ready. I've learned so much, and I'm more determined than ever to keep making a difference." Logan looked at her, his gaze unwavering. "And I'll be right here with you, every step of the way," he said. As Anna gazed out at the world beyond the mansion, she knew that the future was bright. There would be challenges ahead, but she was no longer afraid. She had built something incredible, and with Logan by her side, she knew there was nothing they couldn't accomplish together. This was just the beginning of a lifelong journey, one that would continue to inspire, uplift, and create positive change for years to come. Anna had found her purpose, and with each passing day, she would continue to build on the legacy she had started, leaving an indelible mark on the world.